Hello, this is Shambhavi. Welcome to Satsang. Satsang is an ancient spiritual practice from India. It means being in reality together. I give Satsang live every Wednesday and Sunday night in Portland, Maine. This Dharma talk was recorded during one of our Wednesday night gatherings. Please visit jayakula.org to learn more about the teachings. You can find video satsangs on Jayakula's YouTube channel, and my books are all available on Amazon.com. Much love to you, wherever and however you are. Most cultures have some discourse around ideal friendship, from indigenous cultures to spiritual cultures to high philosophy cultures. The subject of friendship is talked about a lot in human life. And not in an ordinary way, but there's been a lot of writings and ponderings and poetry about a kind of an ideal friendship or an ideal friend. And those of you that have read Rumi know that he often referred to his guru Shams of Tabriz as the friend. And there's many other instances of that in spiritual writings, but not just spiritual writings. You're all throughout European and Greek philosophy. There's a huge discourse on friendship in Taoist traditions, and in every tradition there's this kind of talk about friendship between human beings. And in this discourse on friendship, ideal friendship has some characteristics that can help us to understand how to feel more friendly toward ourselves. This ideal friendship that you read about across all these different cultures leads you to understand a few things. One is that the scene of this friendship is a scene without struggle. And somehow this ideal friendship, or this idea of friendship that's actually working, does not involve struggle. And that's because the participants in an actual friendship are kind of giving in to the situation of the friendship. These ideal friendships, sometimes they're paintings, poems, music, philosophical writings, fiction, all kinds of philosophy, all kinds of ways this has been written about. But one of the hallmarks of them is that the ideal friendship is a place of respite from struggle, and it's a place where you just kind of give in to each other. Right? In other words, you have an iron grip on lots of different ways that you think things should be or want them to be. Let's just start on the simplest level. You have a body. And most people, especially in our culture, are in some kind of struggle with their bodies. You have some idea of how it should be or how you want it to be, and you're struggling with it. If you were in an actual friendship with your body, you would just give in. You would have a gentler attitude toward your body, in the way that in ideal friendship, you make a lot of allowances and room for the friend to be how they are. Because ideal friendship is a place of ease, not of struggle. So maybe in an ideal friendship, you're helping each other, right? You're supporting each other. It's not like you're just going, oh, whatever, my friend's about to kill himself with IV drugs, whatever. It's not that. It's not this sense of fatalism, or giving in is not giving up. Right? Giving in just means you give in You let go of that struggle of trying to make things how you want them, and you just work in a softer way with how things actually are. So it means giving up your ideal of what your body should be or what you want it to be, and just kind of going, okay, this is what it is. I'll work with that, right? And then, you think about your mind, or a lot of you are struggling with your minds or your emotions. You want them to be different from how they are. You have some idea of how you should feel or how your mind should be. You want your mind to be quieter, or you want your mind to be smarter, or you want your mind to be less intense or more intense or clearer, or whatever it is that you want. You want your emotions to be smoother, or you want your emotions to be more clarified and sharp. It takes all kinds, right? But then we have these desires and we're gripping them, and we are in a struggle with our emotions and our mind. You have to give in. You have to relent. In a friendship, in a real friendship, you aren't struggling with the person. You aren't trying to remake the person, but you might just give the person some gentle support. And on the other hand, you might just look at the person and see something that's, with one of their foibles, and you might just think fondly about it or shrug your shoulders and go on from there, right? So just imagine for a minute, if you can, what it would feel like if you stopped struggling with your body. You just drop the sense of struggle. And then what it would feel like if you stopped struggling with your mind and with your emotions. Like as if your body and your emotions and your mind were just that ideal friend with whom you didn't have to struggle. There's a beautiful tantric practice that I did, which involves getting buried underground and experiencing, kind of simulacrum of death. When I was buried under there, that was the first time probably in my life I experienced non-struggle. There I was underground. There was 6 feet of rocks on top of me. There really wasn't much struggling to be done. And I just had the sense of the whole world was happening, and I was there underground, just lying there, and everything was happening, and I didn't have to do anything about it. It was so relaxing. The other part of non-struggling with your body and your emotions and your mind, and other people also, being a friend to your body, your energy, and your mind, and also being a friend to other people, is that you can just wait and see what happens. One of your options of non-struggling is to wait and see what happens. Because we're also in a struggle with time. We have all kinds of struggly relationships to time. And when we are in a struggle with our body, our energy, or our mind, and we are in a struggle with other people, we're constantly in struggle, then we think we have to do something. Struggle is all about doing stuff, taking aggressive action, or sometimes passive-aggressive action. But in any case, when we're in the mode of struggle, when our orientation, our feeling orientation toward our energy and our mind and our bodies is one of struggle or other people, then we feel we have to take action. So we never have any patience to just wait and see what happens. Because we don't understand the number 2 thing about friendship. Number 1 thing is that there's no struggle. Number 2 thing is it's a conversation. When we're in a struggle with time, we're not listening. We're just trying to get things done, or get our point across, or make something right, or fix something, or hurt something. Whatever it is that we're trying to do, whatever form of struggle we're engaged in. We're struggling with time in that we can't just wait and see what happens. We can't wait for the other to say something to us. Because this ideal friendship that you read about in every culture is always a kind of beautiful conversation. Whether it's a literal conversation or just a meeting of hearts and minds that's, more subtle than spoken language. But in any case, it's always a sense of listening and being heard. Back and forth, back and forth. So when we are caught in this death grip of how we think everything should be, and we're in a very unfriendly relationship with ourselves because we're finding all sorts of faults with ourselves and with other people, and there's, everything needs to be fixed and everything's a problem. We're just in a constant state of struggle, aggression, and then disappointment and despair. We can't possibly be in a conversation. There's two ways of not being in a conversation. There's not listening by checking out, and then there's not listening by talking over the other person. And when we're not listening to our body, our energy, our mind in a friendly way, and we're not listening to other people in a friendly way because we're making a beeline for how we think things should be, then that's, another expression of non-friendliness and struggle. So also now, just for a minute, wherever you are sitting, just imagine you at the center of this entire life that's going on the whole planet. And you're just sitting here, and imagine that you have the feeling there's nothing to do about anything. If you didn't do anything about anything, the world would go on. If you didn't fix one thing, no one would notice. On the other hand, when you sit and just feel the life of everything around you and feel, that sense of non-doing, non-aggression, you realize that there's something coming toward you. There's always something coming toward you. And that's the big surprise. Because the foundation of life really isn't figuring it out. Figuring out what to do next, figuring out your plan, figuring out how to get what you want. That isn't the foundation of life. The foundation of actual life, that conversation between friends, is surprise. And when you're completely engaged in the struggle to make your body, your energy, and your mind and other people how you want them to be, you have no surprises other than failure. If things work out the way you tried to manipulate them into working out, you say, good, I made it happen. If things don't work out, you think, oh my God, I failed. So the only surprise you get is failure. But when you just sit and feel yourself here, whole world, life is happening. And you can feel not just that all that doing is unnecessary, but that something is coming toward you. That anything can happen. That life is in a conversation with you, and you don't know what it's going to say next. And you can't hear what it's going to say next. You can't let a situation converse with you and tell you what it's about if you are always jumping the gun with your constant struggle. Things take a lot more time than our struggle with time allows us to understand. And when you stop struggling, you can let time be more natural. You can be living in natural time instead of struggle time. So this friendliness towards ourselves and other people has to have that quality of giving in. Letting there be more wiggle room. Letting things be how they are without rushing in to change them. The way, we all hate it. If we say something to a friend and then they just rush in to try to change our attitude or change something. That's annoying, right? Because we feel, you didn't just give me room to can't I just express myself, right? Your body's just expressing itself. Your mind is just expressing itself. Your energy is expressing itself. People are expressing themselves. If we had more of an orientation of friendliness and friendship, then we would let that happen more without rushing in to do anything about it. Then we understand that there's that living quality here. It's going to keep living, right? Whether we rush in and try to fix something or not. All kinds of things can emerge when you're living in natural time instead of struggle time. All kinds of unexpected things. The things that eventually we're going to get to anyway, because eventually we are going to stop struggling. But is it going to be this lifetime or not? When we stop struggling, we can just see what happens and work with that, whatever it is. So we can just sit here and not struggle. Jayakula is a nonprofit community offering opportunities to learn and practice in the direct realization traditions of Trika Shaivism and Dzogchen. We are based in Portland, Maine and Portland, Oregon. Visit jayakula.org to explore more of our offerings.